the journey is important, not always the results. The journey of being a mom, the journey of, despite being a mom, going to the stage, despite being sleepless. And don't resist, because resisting takes a lot of energy. Hello to the Out of Comfort Zone podcast. Today I will do a solo podcast and will speak as a limitless mom. So, what does mean limitless mom? What is this mission? What is this concept about, first of all? So, this limitless mom concept is not just for moms, it's also for upcoming moms, but also maybe for fathers, maybe for upcoming parents, even, and for everyone who is open for listening. Limitless mom, the concept means that even if you are getting a parent, even if you are a parent, that your life doesn't stop, that you continue to realize your dreams, that you continue to follow your own passion. I hear so many times people from consulting, from sports, they say, oh, I cannot be a mom, or I cannot be a dad right now. We need to earn money, we need to save money. I want to win this race first. I want to win this gold medal first, and then let's see. But life is not to postpone, and there will be never a bad or a good time for having children. You will never feel ready. So I heard that a lot of times, and I can tell you now, you will never feel ready. There is not the best time. Every time you will find another reason why to not do it now. And this podcast is not about motivating you to be parents. This podcast today is about sharing my vulnerable sides in social media. Maybe you saw also in my newsletters, I announced that I will join the European Championship, ice swimming. So when I was 1 month pregnant last year, I trained in icy waters in North Cap. It was freezing cold. I didn't know at this time that I'm pregnant, and I swam in -1 degrees of cold waters. And I sensed that I'm pregnant. And despite this, I listened to my body. I still trained and I attended the World Championship. And 1 month pregnant, I became world champion in 500 meters freestyle, which means 500 meters, 8 minutes in 0 degrees of freezing cold water. And you can imagine it's a magic, right? Many people say when you are pregnant, they think you are ill, you are sick, you cannot do anything. And I was in this freezing cold waters. And now, after postpartum stage, I'm a mom. My baby is now 4.5 months. And next week, I will attend the World Championship, the European Championship. And of course, being a mom is not easy. You have sleepless nights, you have hormonal imbalances. Life looks sometimes really good and sometimes really like isolated, because being a mom means you feel more isolated, you feel more out of comfort zone because it's a new situation. You never have been a mom, haven't been a parent, right? For me, I always was me, myself, and I. My goals, my swimming goals, my career, my money, my time, my energy, everything me. It is like that. Tell you the truth, right? So when you are not a parent, you are more like a me, my ego, my time, my career. In this mode, this is like this. But when you become a parent, you are an invisible club of parenting. Suddenly, everything changes, especially for moms. You are not alone anymore. It starts with getting pregnant. You need to think what you eat, what to drink. Still, I'm breastfeeding mom. I'm breastfeeding every 2 hours. That means when I go for swim training, I breastfeed. And after coming back from swim training, I breastfeed again. I calculate everything. I adjust myself completely to my baby. In the night, I wake up 4 or 5 times And despite all this exhaustion, I decided to continue with my business and with my swimming. So after giving birth, after 6 weeks, I was on a big stage and holding my speech in front of 800 people. It felt overwhelming, to tell you the truth, because giving birth is isolating. You are in your own zone, you are with your core family, you're giving birth, you have sleepless nights, you're overwhelmed, your body is overwhelmed, you're completely, in a different situation. And you are at home, you go sometimes for a walk, but that's it, right? And suddenly to feeling all the energy in this room, 800 people, it was for me a massive situation. Like, wow, so many people. Wow, I'm on the stage again. And I just had 2 months break, but after even this 2 months break, it felt like a different situation. And I felt different. I felt more whole, more adult. And yes, I was breastfeeding at this time. So I needed to pump before going to the stage. And after that, I needed to pump again. And then my partner called and said the baby is crying. And that was the first time where I left the baby alone for 3 hours. And it was so painful for me. I even wanted to cry. So these kind of moments are really surreal moments when you are not a parent. You think, oh, 3 hours leaving your kid alone, it's okay, right? But suddenly the world is changing. In the middle of my speech, I thought about my baby. After my speech, I called my partner, how is my baby? It's a different situation, a different challenge, of course, emotionally. And then, of course, I continue with my executive coachings. And during my coachings, I have a nanny. She's supporting me. She's taking care of my baby. But suddenly, every yes to someone means no to your baby, no to your own regeneration time, no to your own sleeping time, right? When I have in the afternoons coaching sessions, of course, I cannot do any more naps during the day, or I cannot play with my baby. So you need to consider all these aspects. And for me, exploring this world of I'm not anymore responsible for my own time management, for my own energy management, but also responsible to have quality time with my baby, with my family, to balance everything out. It's a massive challenge. And when I came back to the waters, I still continued training. When I was pregnant, I continued training. Like I was before birth, 3 days before birth, giving birth, I swam 1.5 kilometers, right? So I always was wanted to be a fit mom and trained. And after giving birth, I gave myself 6 weeks. The doctor said at least 6 weeks, and it's important that you give this time for your body. After that, I started with lake swimming, slowly pool swimming, and even now ice water swimming. Your body will tell you if you feel good or bad. So you need to be mindful. What was for me shocking is when I started with the pool trainings, because when you do ice water trainings, it's not enough to deal with the ice water. Now, towards the European Championship, I need to be fast, right? I need to be competitive. And then I started again with pool trainings, and massive challenge. My mind was still the Deniz Kayadelen, the fast one, but my body was not the same. And I started sprinting, and I thought, oh, I'm coming my old times, my old pace. And then suddenly I see these numbers and I say, are you kidding me? How I can be so slow? I was irritated. I was shocked. I felt a big gap between my mind, how my mind is thinking, who I am, and my body. And this was the hard reality. The hard reality kicked in, and I thought, oh my gosh, can I really attend the European Championship? Was it really a good time? Or do I overpace myself? Is it the real timing? Is it the best timing? So maybe I should still sit at home. Maybe I should just have a break for 1 year. I have these doubts. I had these doubts. But I always said out of comfort zone, magic happens. And now being a mom, I say, create magic, not just only out of comfort zone, create magic in your flow. And in your flow means that you are not acting from your ego. My ego would say, oh, before pregnancy, you were so fast. Now you're slow. But when I act not from my ego, but from my flow zone, joy zone, then I can be more calm and say, okay, my mission is to continue as a fresh mom. My mission is to continue following my passion, continue creating magic, but not always pushy, pushy, pushy out of comfort zone. But there's another way, more mindful, more in the joy zone, in the peak flow. And that's exactly my new book, From Fear to Peak Flow. The peak flow means that you're always not pushing, pushing hard, but you are more in alignment with your body, soul, mind, and emotions. And this is what now I try to practice. And that's why the timing of this writing this book is perfect, because as a fresh mom, you cannot always push, push, push. You need to be mindful. You need to have a rest. You need to be ready for all the challenges in life. But first of all, you need to be ready for your baby. You need to be there for yourself and find space for regeneration. And this is the hard reality, what it kicked in. And my mind was still like the old Deniz, like pushing, pushing hard out of comfort zone. And my new identity, let's say, being a mom, said, calm down, be more in your flow, more in your joy zone, no ego. And this is a big, big transformation also for me. As you can see, we all evolve, we all transform. And that's why I want to share the story with you so openly, so honestly, because this is also my transformation now, from just pushing out of comfort zone towards going to peak flow, more mindful, more relaxed, and with less pushy, with more alignment, with more working mindfully on these four pillars and being in the joy zone. And joy zone means not always comfort zone. Joy zone means also being out of comfort zone, but you have the choice. You can have the radical acceptance and say, even if it's uncomfortable, I have the radical acceptance that is uncomfortable and I enjoy or accept this moment and I don't resist. Or you are in your out of comfort zone and you resist. For example, I'm in the pool. I'm not swimming so fast anymore. My brain resists and say, oh, I couldn't swim so fast. What I should do now? And then getting angry, getting in this ego zone and this ego mode, right? And pushing, pushing, and say, no, do it, do it. You need to be faster. And then I'm in my brain, and my brain is sabotaging me, my limiting beliefs and everything, right? Or you have the chance to say, okay, I will deactivating my brain. I will do my best. I have the radical acceptance that I'm not the fastest anymore, that I'm slower than before giving birth. I accept it. I still enjoy this training. I know I do my best. I have the faith, and everything will happen how it will happen. I have the chance to not resist, to still do my best, and focusing on this moment. Focusing on this moment, trying to enjoy my sprints, my swimming, without being actively with my mind judging, you are slow, comparing myself with myself or with others, and giving this mind chatter a room. So we have the decision to decide if we give space to this mind chatter or no. And when I recognized that, oh, my mind is chatting with me and I'm pushing, pushing, I said, okay, stop. Now take a deep breath and just be in the joy zone. Radical acceptance. You are not so fast right now. You can do the best what you can do and just enjoy and do a last sprint. And you know what? The last sprint was the fastest of all those, even though I was exhausted of the whole training. And that shows how powerful is your mind when you can just stop your mind and be in this radical acceptance zone, accepting what's happening, less resisting, focusing on this moment. So these are the different patterns what can help you also in your life. I don't know in which situation you are. Maybe you're pregnant, but maybe you're also like a fresh mom, maybe you're an athlete, maybe you are becoming dead, whatever you are. But these principles, what I'm now telling you, are really real life examples. So first of all, when I sum it up, the radical acceptance helps. Acceptance and less resistance. Acceptance of what's Now, and not focusing on the gap between what you expect and what is the reality, because there will be always a gap between your high expectation and the reality. But when you have the radical acceptance, then your ego kicks less in. You accept, you less judge, and you focus on the moment. And the positive side effect is that you are more grateful of what you have. When you can manage to be more in the joy zone, have this radical acceptance, and accept the pain, accept the discomfort, and accept what's going on, then suddenly you start to enjoy this moment. You start to enjoy what you have, and you become more grateful. And the more grateful you are, the more will come. But when you are in this ego zone, when you have this pattern of judging yourself, judging others, comparing yourself, comparing with others, then you are fighting against waves. Then you are fighting with yourself. You are in the ego mode. It's not flowing anymore. You are not in the flow zone. And this is important. So, number two, less resisting, less pushing, more doing what you can, focusing on the now, and then being grateful of what you have. And the third point is, even though you don't have success, that's what I'm telling myself, even though if I maybe not get the gold medal in the European Championship, at least I tried, at least I was there. I'm pushing my passion. So the journey is important, not always the results. And this is also what I'm learning. The journey of being a mom, the journey of, despite being a mom, going to the stage, despite being sleepless, with the radical acceptance, accepting that I'm sleepless, accepting that maybe I don't have this kind of energy, but then suddenly I get more energy because I don't resist, because resisting takes a lot of energy. And right now, I also feel when I resist to my reality that I'm slower and starting to concern about my performance, about will I get successful again? Will I get on stage again? Will I get my medals? Then suddenly I feel more exhausted because I draining myself. I drain myself with my brain, with my ego, because I want this. And this is the reality. But I don't know what I will get. So this is a really spiritual pet for me as well, to just stay in the moment, do whatever I can, and just staying in the joy zone. And I will try my best. As Limitless Mom, I'm continue to following my passion, to try to stay in my peak flow, which means in alignment with my spirituality, having faith, focusing on now, having the emotional endurance, motivating myself, having the mental focus, stopping all the mental chatters, all the ego thoughts, and just focusing on the goal, what I really want to achieve. And the body, of course, having resting time, having regeneration time, and not always just pushing out of comfort zone. Also have the radical acceptance that sometimes letting go is a better flow and brings me more to the peak flow. I think these are the most important lessons learned what I have and what I now try to also use as a tool. I still practice everyday meditation, breath work with my baby. My baby is with me, sitting on my chest, and I do breath work, I do meditation, I everyday walking, I do everyday swimming while my nanny is supporting me and checking my baby. And I think these are important aspects that you continue with what you enjoy, because when you feel good, the world will feel better. When you feel good as a mom and continue with your passion, you are the greatest role model. Your baby will feel it. Your baby will do it. I went with my baby to swimming. She will be next week with me in the European Championship. She will see it. She will feel it. Maybe she will not remember after years, but she will feel it. And I believe when you are grounded and you are continue with your passion, this is the best what you can teach to your child. Don't stop. Don't limit yourself. Being a mom, being a dad doesn't mean to stop everything, stopping your hobbies, limiting yourself, just sitting at home and be just for her there. Of course, you should be for her there or for him, but you need to be for you also there in order to shine and rise and be the best version as a parent. And now, parenthood, business, athlete life, everything comes together. And what I can tell, it is sometimes exhausting, but I wouldn't do it differently. I'm now enjoying my baby. I enjoy doing my trainings, which helps me to get in form again. It gives me positive energy. I'm getting surrounded myself with positive people. So it's all about, again, energy management. For what you want to invest your energy, for what you want to say yes, and for what you want to say no. And I said yes for the European Championship. I will do my best. I will try to stay in the joy zone with the radical acceptance that my body is how my body is. I can just enjoy, decide to stay in the moment, and do my best. And the rest we will see. I wish you many more magical moments in and out of your comfort zone, and especially in your peak flow, where everything is aligned emotionally, mentally, soul wise, spiritual wise, and your body wise. So never forget, you are number one. And when you feel good, the world will feel better. And even if you have a challenging situation and you doubt yourself, just remind yourself also to my story where I was doubting myself. And I can tell you, this is your ego. And your ego will bring you nowhere. But your soul, your faith, your joy zone will bring you in this journey much higher than you can imagine.